Someone may ask, how could you quit your job after 16 and a half years? Was it just one incident? Was it several? I would have to say it was several incidents that happened. And in one of the other episodes, I mentioned being passed over for promotions. Now, granted, I know I wasn't like perfect at everything. I am only on time for an airplane out of the country. I will be on time at the airport, but I can't be on time at work to save my life, even when I live down the street. But they knew I was coming, and I got my job done. I'll work through lunch, and I'll also stay late. So that's one of my things. I'm not always the most punctual, but I work hard and I give 110% in everything that I do. And then it gets to a point when you know it's your breaking point is when you stop giving that 110% and you just start just doing your job because you feel like going above and beyond is just no longer worth it. And so it was doing all of that extra and then not getting the ratings that I felt like I deserved. Whereas when I was working under, when I mentioned my favorite boss, I got all the proper ratings because I was doing 102%. I was putting in projects that were pretty much being utilized company-wide. And so I was getting that top level rating. Whereas you're giving top level work, but then you're only getting rated at an average performer. And so that was one of the things that kind of like stuck with me. And then one of the other things, I guess, you kind of have tells when you're starting to look or thinking about leaving, is right before I was getting ready to quit, maybe a couple weeks before, I got honored by my last manager with like this $15,000 grant. And it was for a project that I had did a year prior. And so the grant was essentially stock options. Great, all great and dandy. But the issue was it was from a year before, and then the stock wasn't going to be vested for like another few years. So essentially, I won't see the benefit of that whole congratulatory reward for 3 years in the future. So I couldn't even cash it out. So essentially, when I left that behind. And so also, one of the other things that happened was that I was always having to train my manager. With the way my org unit was set up, I was the only one as a senior controller that didn't have a director in between me and the senior director. So anything that happened for my business unit, I was always the go-to contact for it. Any questions they had, I had to answer. Anything going on with my plants, I was that contact for my senior director. Any data that had to be rolled up, I was the one doing it. Whereas my peers, they had a director that was rolling up that detail. So when a reorg came for my business unit to be set up just as the others to have a director in between, they hired someone with no poultry or no background in that field to be my manager, and then I had to train them. I did that once. Then that manager left. The second time it happened was when my new director was getting ready to start and I was overlooked for that promotion. That's when I just said, okay. I was at home the night before. It was a Sunday night. I was like, Lord, I've been praying about this. I can't do this anymore. And you're going to keep hiring people and have me train them when I've been doing the work all these years. And so I didn't even tell my family right before I was getting ready to quit because I knew they would try to talk me out of it. You don't have another job. Then you're talking about moving to another state. So literally, I typed it up in the middle of the night. And I was like, I think this is it. So I went to work that morning. I was kind of nervous, but I was sure that this is what I needed for my mental health and just to have a full on reset. So I literally went to work, and I think that was either my new manager had started and had been there a week, or his first day was going to be the day that I was quitting and give my 2 week notice. I did actually give a 2 week notice, but I didn't work any of that 2 weeks. I was like, if I'm not good enough to actually do the job, how am I even qualified to train my new manager, a director at that? And you want me to keep smiling about it, and you keep overlooking me, but you want me to keep putting in? I said, no. So I took that 2 weeks, and I took a vacation and kept coming back and forth to Texas to find me a place. And I literally had already found a place and had moved to Texas by the end of that 2 weeks. So, and I'll talk in another episode what I did during that year, but those are mainly the big things that led up to me quitting my job after 16 and a half years. So I hope that gives you an understanding. I know I'm not the only one in the corporate world that's experienced this and has gone through something like this. So yeah, you just got to do what's best for you.